All right, my beauties. This set of notes, we are looking at specific angle pair relationships. Remember, pair means two, so we're talking about two angles that have a specific type of relationship. All right, so we have some definitions here we need to go over. Adjacent angles just means that they're next to each other and they share a side. So angle 1 and angle 2 would be a pair of adjacent angles. Complementary angles, specifically two angles that add to 90 degrees. Now, they don't have to be adjacent, and most people think these are the only complementary angles. These are also complementary angles. Okay, so as long as they add up to 90, and that was supposed to be a 50 and a 40. Oops, I kind of wrote something wrong. So as long as they add up to 90, that's the important part. Okay. Supplementary, two angles that add up to 180. And again, they don't have to be adjacent. They can be adjacent, but they don't have to be adjacent. 30 plus 150 is 180, so these are supplementary. Okay. Linear pairs are adjacent angles that form a straight line. So linear pairs are always supplementary. Okay, so that's a little confusing. Supplementary angles do not have to form a linear pair, but linear pairs are always supplementary. All right, so vertical angles, the true definition is they are formed by two pairs of opposite rays, basically when two lines cross. Okay, vertical angles go the opposite direction. So 1 and 3 are a pair of vertical angles. 2 and 4 are a pair of vertical angles. And if you think about the fact that these have to add to 180 and these have to add to 180, then 2 and 4 have to be the same. So vertical angles are always going to be congruent to each other. All right, so example 1, we're just going to identify some of these. Well, so I said like if this is 62, I know this is 62, just to help myself out. So supplementary, well, I just said AFE and DFE because those two numbers add up to 180. Vertical angles, well, I did those two 62, so angle AFE and angle CFD are vertical angles. Complementary, well, these two add up to 90, so I said angle BFC and angle CFD. Adjacent, there are tons of choices, just two angles that share a side, so I just said AFB and BFC. Linear pairs have to form a straight line, so they have to be two angles side by side that form a straight line. So I said EFD and CFD. Now all of these, there's other answers out there. This was just one example of each one. But there are multiple possibilities in this picture. All right, so now we're going to move on to problems where we have to solve for x. So the first thing you want to decide is which type of angles do we have? Are they complementary, so they add to 90? Are they supplementary, so they add to 180? Or are they vertical, which means they're congruent to each other? So A, these are vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. So 3x plus 2 equals 32. Subtract 2 from both sides, divide by 3. X equals 10. These two form a straight line. They're two angles that are adjacent and form a straight line. Linear pairs are supplementary. So they're going to add up. 2x plus 17 plus 123 equals 180. Combine like terms. 2x plus 140 equals 180. Subtract 140. 2x equals 40. Divide by 2. X equals 20. All right, so C. One angle is 5 times its complement. Find the measure of both angles. Well, we don't know what either angle is, so I'm just saying, okay, let x equal the first angle, and then 5x would equal the second angle because we're told that one angle is 5 times its complement. Complement means they add to 90, so these two angles together, x plus 5x equals 90, 6x equals 90, divide by 6, x equals 15. But it told us to find the measure of both angles, so if I plug that in for x, 5 times 15 is 75 degrees. So 15 degrees and 75 degrees. All right, so D. An angle is 10 less than twice its supplement. Find the measure of both angles. So again, I just said X is going to be angle 1. The second angle, 10 less than twice its supplement. So twice means to multiply by 2. 10 less means to subtract 10. They're supplementary because it said it's supplement, which means these two angles are going to add up to 180. So combine like terms, 3x minus 10 equals 180. Add 10 to both sides, 3x equals 190. Divide both sides by 3, x equals 63 1/3. But I also need to know the other angle, so I plug that right in there. So 2 times 63 1/3 minus 10 is 116 2/3. Or you could just realize that these two have to add up to 180, so you could just say 180 minus 63 1/3 is 116 2/3. And I know fractions tend to scare people. You're allowed a calculator, so fractions should not be scary at all when you can just plug them into the calculator. And I don't care if you write the answer as a fraction or as a decimal or a mixed number, they're all the same. So you're welcome to use a calculator and say 63.3 and 116.6. You know, that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. All right, so that finishes up the third set of notes, and that's our last set of notes for today. Bye, folks.